Hi everyone, welcome to my YouTube channel. My name is Bisola, and in today's video we are going to clean this caffeine sales data. It's a dirty data, and we're going to use Power Query. I'm going to show you how we can clean this data using Power Query editor. So the first thing you want to do is you convert this data into table by hitting your Control plus T, right? Highlight, then Control plus T, then go to data. So you have different ways to get your data into your Power Query editor. Is either you get it, you use from text slash CSV from web, or from table slash range, or you come here and hit get data from anywhere you want to get the data from. But we are getting our data because we already convert this our data to table. So we're getting our data from what? From table slash range. So I'll just click on table slash range and it will bring us down into our Power Query editor in Excel. So this is our Power Query editor. So I want to change this to sales. So you can also change your table name. So you can see from here it has changed. So now we have this data set here. So if you're wondering your data set not showing this valid 100%, maybe in your Power Query yours is not showing this way, you can just come here, right? Then check this. Mine is check. Let me uncheck it. So it's called column quality, right? You can just come on to view. Under view you see column quality, then you check it, then it will bring out your column quality. So what this column quality shows is it shows how if your data is valid, or you have error, or you have empty rows in your data, how many empty you have, how many errors you have in your data. So now let's go down to data cleaning. So first I see that, okay, my data type for here is text, which is correct in my transaction. But let's check, let's do the exploratory data. We have the transaction ID, we have the item, we have the quantity, we have the price per unit, we also have the total spent, we have payment method, location, and transaction date. So this data set have a lot of error in it, and we want to clean all these errors, right? So the first thing I'll do is I have null, I have unknown. Is there any item name unknown? I don't think so. Then I also have error. So you can see these are the key things I have, and I have null. So I want to remove this. So now the first thing I'll do is I'll come here. You can see null and unknown. So I'll use the replace value, right? Come to under transform, then hit your replace value, right? So I'll replace unknown and error as null, right? So as for us to have a clean data to work with. So unknown to null, right? So every unknown there will be null. So if you check, don't have unknown in our data set again. So one other thing I want is error. There is no item called error, so I'll remove this error. I'll change it to null, replace value. You can also put here transform error, then I'll replace it as what? Null. Now after replacing this value, now let's check, do we still have anything named error here? No. So now I'll remove this. I'll come right click, then click on this drop down, sorry, then remove empty. That means I'm removing null, right? So now our data set that was showing that is not 100% is now valid. We now have it as valid 100%. So we're done with that part. So now our data type is supposed to be in text, which is correct. So the next one we'll go to the next column is the quality. The quality here we have valid 90% and we have 2% empty. Now let's say, okay, now this quantity is not supposed to be in text format. We want to put it, it's supposed to be normally the data type is supposed to be in integer, right? That's whole number. Now let's see what we get when we change the data type, right? It's still showing us that we have valid 98 and empty 2, right? Which is not what? Which is not clean. So now what we want to do is, what error do we have here? We have the null, so we'll remove empty. So you can see we have error there. So now the first thing we'll do is, before changing the data type, right, we have some text in it. That's why we're having that error, right? At first it's presented as if it works well, but because we have this text value in it, it won't, the data type won't change to text, because we have they are alphanumeric. We have both numbers and text in it. So the first thing we want to do is error and unknown. We need to change, we need to just do the same thing we did using the first method we use. So we come to under transform, you click on your values. Under these values, replace values, also have something called um, replace error. But this replace error won't work when we hit on it. You can see, let's replace it with 0. You still see your error in there. You can see the error is not changing. So the best thing we're going to do is, we're going to replace it manually. We just hit on the replace value, which is the first one. You type your error in there, then you replace it with 0. Oh, it's null, sorry, it's null, right? So now another thing we want to replace is the unknown. The unknown, you replace it with unknown, you replace it with null. So you come to your transform, you come to your value, replace value, the first one, replace value. So we type in our unknown, then null. Okay, so the next thing I want to do is, let's check, do we still have any text value in here? No. So we have 1 to 5 and we have null. So all we just need to do is click here, remove empty. So after doing that, we can now change our data type to whole number, right? So you can see by so doing, we don't have. So the next place we're going to is our price per unit. So here we also have the same thing. So we just quickly do the same method, right? Replace value, error, error, so null, then unknown, 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 to null. So remove empty. Price per unit, so we can change this to currency, right? So the next one is this one, right? So we also have total spent, we have error and unknown in here. So you just want to replace them with null and remove them. Just remove empty, so our data sets will be valid 100%, unknown, replace with null. So you click in here, so you remove empty. So let's check our unknown, our null, you can see is what is on check. So you come here, total spent, that's still in currency. So the next one we want to do is, we want to clean the payment, right? The payment also have this same error, although they are in text, but there is no payment method that is error or unknown. So that's where you're going to suspect that, okay, this is a kind of is a dirty data set, is an error from their end, or is an error you need to look into. So I come here, so the error, replace it with null, then unknown, you can still right click and you can see your replace value. Unknown, replace it with null, right? So you come in here, so you can see that we now have it as text. So there is no location that is also called unknown, right? So all you just need to do is you change it, change just like the way we did the other ones. Error, null, and close it. So we have the unknown, so unknown, then null. So our data is clean. So now back to removing the empty, remove empty. So you can see we have takeaway, and so these are to clean your data using replace values. So we also have the date here, right? The date here has a lot of error, right? We have, when we say we want to change the data type to date, we are going to have, that's date and time, because we have time also here. We're going to have encounter a very huge error, you can see. So this is not good. So I'll just, from the apply step, I'll just cancel this last one where I change the data type. So now the first thing I want to do is the first method we use here, right, by replacing the error and the unknown to null first, right? Then we are still going to replace unknown to null. Can you see that? So now we have 95% of our data is clean, but we still have empty. So now here we don't have any text in here. So we will remove empty. So by so doing, you can change your data type to time and date, right? So now our data is clean. But one thing I notice is when I click on this filter button, I have 12 a.m., 12 a.m., 12 a.m. for everything. And I don't think I need this time for my analysis, right? So what I'll just do is I'll split the column, right? Between the date and the time, you can see there is an empty space because it's going to ask me what's the delimiter. That's the delimiter there. The space is the delimiter. So I'll just hit on the space and hit OK. So we now have our date and time and are splitted. You can see. So they are what splitted. So all I just need to do is hold control to highlight a column, right, that you want to work on. Hold control, you click on the column you want to work on, and I'll remove these columns. So I've removed this column, and I can rename my column to date transaction date. So now I want to check the quality of our data, right? Since it's still loading, so I want to check. So there are different ways you can clean your data. You can clean your data in different ways. So before removing any data, maybe you want to work for a client, right? Maybe a client asks you, send you data that he or she wants you to do a data analysis, you want to analyze the data. The first thing you need to do is before removing anything from that data set, you need to confirm from your client. In this data set, I find some errors and some unknown values. Are there data to replace those values? So before you remove an error, make sure you contact your client first. Don't just go ahead and replace or remove data. So thank you so much. If this video is helpful to you, kindly like, hit the subscribe button, hit the notification bell to get more updates, more of my videos. Thank you. Bye.